They said they control it up top, so thank you. All right, Chris, we're good to go. Okay, we're going to get started. I do know we'll have a number of people that could enter a little bit late, and we'll do our best to catch up. First off, thank you for coming. My name's Corey Wise, Superintendent of Douglas County Schools. Purpose of tonight. First off, very, very excited for Monday and Tuesday. Excited for the start of school. Greatest thing, yeah. I would say I think all kids are excited to be back, but we do know any change from summer, it's looked forward to in different ways. But the energy, we've had teachers back this week. We started last week, and just see that energy working together on where we are, looking forward to our next steps in opening school. We're really excited. As students get here, it gets even better. That's what it's all about. We're excited for this year. We're excited for what we have. And as we look at tonight, purpose of tonight, as we're coming back into schools, we have to say, what's our plan moving forward? Looking forward, we set up our plan in June and July. We're continuing to move that forward. We've been partnering with Tri-County Health, which aligns with CDPHE, CDC, all of last year. We've continued that. We're still continuing that. Dr. Douglas is a part of this meeting tonight. Even our plans leading up in the other months, we've worked to create our plans with them, share them with them, let them give us feedback. It's in accordance. But tonight really is to take an opportunity. Anytime you have questions, you want to engage. We've had a lot of questions through emails, feedback going into tonight. This was a bit of a rush, so it's not going to be perfect. But I think as of last year and any year, nothing's perfect. Douglas County does amazing things. You look at our students. Our students over the years have done amazing things throughout their high school career and accomplished a ton, and they go on to be extremely successful adults. How many in this room graduated from Douglas County School? Yeah, it's always interesting, huh? How many of you have kids in our schools now? How many of you have grandkids in our schools? Got a couple. I say that in as we look at our paths together, there are different opinions. There's emotion at times. There's frustration. There's celebrations. One thing that I ask of all of us, it's not just the what, it's the how. As we work through challenges, decision making, how we come together, how we voice and give input, how we make decisions, we have to work together. And we have to do it in a way that's respectful, that's understanding, that's empathetic. So we need to embrace those things and work together. How we talk to each other, how we send messages is important. It has an impact. And we have to have that flexibility throughout this year and any year in order to adjust. Any plan takes time, but any plan has to be flexible enough to adjust with needs. And in years of COVID and other things, you have to adjust quicker at times than others. We learned that from last year. We are better from last year. And we'll continue to grow throughout this year and learn from what worked well and what didn't as we move forward. But I also say that's not just me. It's not just our schools, it's all of us. There will be bumps in the road, but we're here to work together on those bumps. So even in this room tonight, what I'd ask of you, it's going to be more of sharing more information with you. It's not going to be open mic, question, answer. The ability to do that well, especially in our first one, we're going to have more opportunities for engagement sessions. This is more about where are we with our protocols to return. That's our topic. I'm going to touch on some other things that came in questions. What about transportation? What about other initiatives and engagement opportunities? We'll talk about that quickly, but there's going to be different opportunities for topics. So I just want you to know that many of you might be coming in thinking, I hope we talk about this or answer this. Tonight is purely, for the most part, starting up next week. Where are we? Where's our plan? What are our next steps? What are we continuing to monitor? Okay, so I just want to be clear on expectation. You know, we set it up from 6 to 7, time-wise. We also need to honor everyone's time. So we will create an electronic opportunity for you to ask more questions, give more feedback. It's going to be hard, especially in the setting to turn this around so quickly, to be able to be available to really do that well, but we will create an electronic piece so that way your voice and questions, feedback can come in. Okay? So I also want you to know that towards the end. So hopefully that sets the stage a little bit. I think as we start to share more, it's important that you have an understanding of what's been happening and why, what we're continuing to work on. I've had conversations Friday, today, with Tri-County, with our own district, with multiple districts. We're working together on what are those metrics, what does that look like? And you can tell there's a lot of different variables in each district. You know, we're asking CDPHE, the governor, and then also to our local level, what are those metrics to require? What would mandate or do a PHO? We are monitoring what does the Delta variant mean? What's the impact? And so we'll get into some of that, but I want you to know that's continued as we work forward with all those entities that partner with us, and that also are decision makers in that work. Okay? So Mark, if you can go to the next slide. You know, as we look at this, I think a key thing, it's what I started with. Back to school. The great thing about being in education, being in schools, you have a start and you have an end of the year, then we get to start back. And those things change and re-energize, and you build forward. And I think that's what's exciting about as you create your plan. It's that continuous growth. What have we learned? What does our data say? And where are we going from here? How do we set the stage of those actions moving forward? So Mark, as you go to the next one, a few key things. As you look at this isn't just about what each person wants or what each person believes or all the facts. There's lots of information out there. But in reality, we're looking at how do we create the best, safest, positive environment to learn and grow. How do we help our students be at their best? How do we help our staff and teachers be at their best? And I think we've worked together a plan that's really put the legwork ahead of time to start off strong and continue to look at it and monitor and move forward. But I think as you look at this, you want to know we've always worked on that alignment within the parameters. What is required, what's recommended. We'll continue to do that and help to define. And Dr. Douglas, I think, will share a little bit of that partnership with us of that and where we are. And also where he sees our data. Because in Douglas County, as of yesterday, what I'm excited about is our vaccination data shows us of 12 and above, so those that can be vaccinated, 72.9. And it's been growing. That's a good variable. That's one of the three critical variables that Tri-County and CDPHE and CDC uses to say, does that lower your risk? So we've already surpassed that as a whole. But then we have to say, what are those other variables, and continue to look and monitor to that. And so when we look at where we are, that collaboration, that partnership continues. Next slide, Mark. So language. You know, this has been consistent. Hold on. Hey, so as I said, the how is important. Assume positive. Now, this is consistent with our planning of recommendations. Okay? We are, hang on. Okay. So, okay. Okay. So irony is going to present itself, and so I want you to take a second. First off, okay. So, wait for a second until I explain. The part of the how is assumed positive. Our work together and the recommendations is consistent with our planning. Slow down and listen. Slow down. Please, I agree with you. Let's not be so condescending. Okay? So, as we look at this, what does this mean moving forward? We have a good plan to move forward. We understand with recommendations. Right now, it is not a requirement. Irony before you. The applauding, the yelling, I get where your emotion is. The how and value and how we treat each other is important. There are many perspectives. There's no one perfect way. This is complicated. This requires not only planning, but then how you implement, how we adjust. I say that even in the partnership with Tri-County. They have partnered with us in this plan of where we are, including where we will be moving forward tonight and continue to look as we go tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and the weeks to come. We need to look at how we do this well and sustain this over time. Having kids have the best opportunity and continue that over time is going to be important. But we don't know everything moving forward. We have to be willing and able to adjust. Adjust as a district and adjust as a community. As we look at that, Mark, if you would please go to the next slide. Some of the things federally that you have to understand. Transportation, federally, we have to all wear masks, period, vaccinated or not. That is a requirement. So just so you know on that side, So as we start going through, as public transportation and schools, and we've tried to clarify multiple times, on transportation the requirement is that staff and students, whether we've been vaccinated or not, have to wear masks. For school buses. Correct. So the actual routes and everything else I'll get to a little bit, but that's also going to be a separate topic. But we're talking about our start back, okay? So I just want you to hear me out on everything. Please don't jump to conclusions. There's multiple levels of who is happy and who is not for different reasons. And there's multiple people that this is live stream that aren't just in this room. But I'm going to tell you, if we can't handle having this type of meeting, we're not going to have it. But it's okay. Hey, but as we say that, hey, we are Douglas County. We can do this. Let's do this. So, as we get going through, as we work through, here are what parameters we are working through. With a positive case, every positive case, we have to isolate. We will be notifying out through a letter, and we'll also have a website dashboard showing where we have positives. We're going to be working with Tri-County Health and monitoring that and working through. We're waiting and expecting more information from Tri-County Health tomorrow that talks about numbers. So we have to say, as in the past, what happens if you have a number of positive cases? What's that impact? We're defining that with them. But as we get going forward and moving forward, understand that we are asking the medical experts to define for us when are you, and if you are, going to mandate. Okay? So, on that side, okay, so we're also, as you look at that, we're going to share where we are with our data and why we are where we are right now. What we're asking for with CDC, CDPHE, and Tri-County is what are your metrics in your data? What's it telling you? And then what would your metrics be if you have to do a different public health order, if you have to do a mandate or requirements? That's something that they have to set that data. They're the medical experts. And we're asking them to provide that with us, as are all superintendents, because this is hard for each of our areas in which to say what's recommended, what's required, and how do we work that well. And I want you to know, as we work on that even with Dr. Douglas, how do we determine what those data points are and what's that look like? So, So as we get going forward, the great part is with testing, we have lots of different testing opportunities, as do you, and we'll work forward with those testing answers. So as you get going through, how you can test and go through with what's positive and go forward with that. So I think as you start to choose how and what you get your tests and where we get those results is going to be important to have to. When we get a positive, we will need to isolate. Okay? So on that side with that, how does it move forward? I'm going to ask, okay, so. All right, here's my point. If we're going to keep this up, we're going to dim the lights, we're going to end it. We'll put out a communication. You can have it that way. I need your help. I need your help here. We need to get through. Correct. I'm trying to provide more information of current state. Mark, can you go back one? Yep. Backwards. All right. I think back one more. Nope, that's the right one. So forward one more. All right. So you look at the recommendation from CDC, which then went to CDPHE and Tri-County. You're going to see a consistent messaging and language and work. We are strongly recommending. The two greatest impacts for mitigation. Okay, one is vaccination because it is the biggest impact on mitigation. Then they also say masks. We also have layered mitigation in our schools. Wait, this isn't judgments. So let me go through again. Hey, sir, stop. Listen a little bit. I get it. There's lots of opinions. You can call me individually, let's talk, but let's get through this. I appreciate what's being said. I don't know. So yeah. So I'll say this. Feedback to the system, feedback with Dr. Douglas and CDPHE and others. You know what I'm going to say is the emotion and the frustration and the concern. I get it. It's there. We all have it. We all have it. But on that same end, what I'd also say to you is that's some of the factors that we have to advocate with all and everywhere. But also this, in a time where we have a whole group, your individual yell out, it's not helping. Even on the timing side of it, where we are with timing, let's walk through this, okay? So in our recommendations, we are strongly recommending that we all wear masks. That is coming down from CDC, CDPHE, and Tri-County. That is what you see in the exact language in that recommendation. That is important to know and important to share. As you start looking at that, implementing physical distancing when possible. In each of our schools, even on our buses, we have talked about how we create distance. Each individual is going to be at a different spot. We have students that have to wear a mask and need to wear a mask. We need to take care of that. So how we use our space well and create that space in each environment to the best of our ability and try to look at those accommodations, we will. We offer multiple modalities. We offer not only our EDCSD and remote learning, we also have our in-person with our plan and a plan that continues to be flexible. As we look at these things, we go forward. We have layered mitigation strategies. As of last year, continuing this year, there are multiple mitigation strategies. I still want to encourage to increase vaccinations. That creates a level of protection and predictability. It's not mandated, it's not required. So that is your choice, but you also need to hear. We want to share with you the opportunities. We see that increasing. It's helped us over that 70%. It's going to continue to help us. We see our student vaccination rates increasing, even in the last 2 weeks. I believe we're at roughly 65% of 16 and 17-year-olds, and up to that 55 or 56 mark for 12 to 15. So that's some of our data in which we have. And that's a great thing to look at of where are we as Douglas County. So as we start taking a look at these and we look at mitigating factors, we will continue to have the increased ventilation, hand washing, reminders, sanitizer. Even in the room, I want you to know, social emotional. It's not about who's wearing a mask and who isn't and the why. It doesn't matter. And it's not going to be about any social bullying, social media bullying, in-person bullying, or as we talk about it, shaming of any sort. We're going to build a culture with our schools, so we're working with our principals. Principals are working with teachers. I was at every bus terminal today, and we're talking about what does that look like and how. First thing first, we need to look at each individual and try to help. What do you need? How can we possibly try to put this together in our school, in our classroom? And we're going to adjust and use our space and try to find solutions. But when you look at it, there's a lot of variables and individuals. So we're going to work with each. And we're going to do the best we can. And we're going to partner and listen. And we're going to try to do our best with those accommodations. So on that side, as we look at those things, we will continue with our disinfecting and frequent disinfections. That's an important part of the layered piece, to continue that. And lastly, just like when we can, when possible, trying to have outdoor learning while the weather's good. What can that look like? Use our space, whether it be with PE, choir, other classes, eating outside. It makes sense. Okay, so as you look at those, hopefully that helps in going through it. As we go to the next slide, Mark, those, as I said, this is what we are required and will be doing. Those that test positive, we will work through isolation. That's a protocol that has been set up, is set up. You can look at that on our website and with Tri-County. They are also going to work on with those exposures. If we see differences in numbers and changes, if we see whether it be the Delta or different variants over the course of what could happen, we can't predict everything that will happen and could happen, but we'll be working with them on those trends as we go throughout the year, as will everyone. Okay? The other thing is we start to communicate out. As I said, when there is a positive, we will send out a letter. There is a positive in a 6th grade class at whatever school. That way you're more aware. You can look at your own students, any of their symptoms. You can decide, you know what, in a couple of days we do need to get tested. Or, what do we notice about the symptoms? And now maybe we need to get tested. But each symptom could be COVID. So it could be. So as we work through that, it helps on the awareness. And it helps on the awareness. And we're encouraging that. I've had questions, are we going to have mandatory tests for kids? That's not in place, but we're going to work together of how do you start to look at your awareness, look at the variables, see what positive there, and then we're going to have to work. A number that Tri-County is defined with CDPH and others is when you have 5 positives. We're going to have to work through that with them. What does that mean? Okay, that goes as an outbreak, so as an ability. And we're working with them to define that, to say how does it go. So that's what we're working on with them and continue to work on. Is it a class, is it a grade, what does that look like? Okay, so reality, those are points that we have to work through and start to define out with our schools. And they're doing a very nice job listening about the impact of schools and how can we do that and work to grow that forward moving forward. So as you think about that, Mark, on the next slide, and I see hands, let's get through this. This is where I'm gonna start to build in Dr. Douglas a little bit, because I also want the importance of his message, because that partnership of where we are together is there. And again, when you say no, stop and slow down. I think you'll hear a lot of consistencies in our work together. Even if it's not everything or exactly how or what you want to hear, assume positive. We have a good plan and a plan that can move forward. And we'll continue to move forward and adjust as needed. And we're going to continue to learn on that data. Help me with that. As you look at it, taking the language. it's important to see that as you look at per the Tri-County Health Department, like much of the guidance released by CDC, CDPHE, and Tri-County, at this point, the universal masking should be understood as not as a requirement, but as a strong science-based recommendation. That work together of where we are right now allows that. So, as you know, that's the good intent of how we work together on those. As I said, we talked about how we use our space and how we work together on the school bus as a federal requirement. Okay, so I talked about a lot of these. We kind of got through it, but as we're going back over, sorry, it's redundant. Go to the next slide, Mark. All right, so Dr. Douglas, I'm going to cue you up in a second on this. I shared this data already, but now in the slide deck. We're at a pretty good spot of where we are with vaccinations as a county. I think Dr. Douglas will share also, and I kind of prompt that on some of the talk floors and questions. By getting over that 70%, it has put us into a lower risk. And sharing with other superintendents or districts, that's one of the variables that are very important, the 3 criteria. So being over that 70% vaccinated of those who can helps us in predictability and decision making. But it's not the end all be all. But I think that's a key piece that Dr. Douglas will share in our data and our assessment. Now on that 73%, the technicality reality, it could be after the first one. But even after the first one, that there will be a second, and those 14 days do factor in. But I think when you look at 73% at some stage of that is an important variable that we all recognize. So just know that on if we want to call out technicalities in each, I get that and recognize that and present that in that slide, okay? And so that gets back to the completed vaccination rate and where we are as a whole, but where we look at moving to the forward. So Mark, go to the next slide, and I think that's where I'm going to ask Dr. Douglas to come in. Yeah, so on this next part, it says, if, and this is a question that I already posed to Dr. Douglas, so you know, and I'm going to ask him again to share it. Do you anticipate a change for a mandate or a requirement or a PHO towards masks anytime soon? Okay, so that's a question that I asked, and I want you to know, along with what do you see in our data and what do you see with our plan. So Dr. Douglas, thank you for being here tonight and taking the time. Thank you for meeting with us a number of days and your team. It's not just Dr. Douglas, it's his team that I need to recognize also. The amount of time they're spending with us and all the school districts is valuable. But Dr. Douglas, a little bit, we've worked together on our plan going forward, where we are currently. We start school, as you know, Monday and Tuesday. First, I'd like to ask you, are we in accordance with what you are asking us to do, requiring us to do, recommending us to do? So your accordance, your support, your approval of our plan moving forward. And then a little bit towards what we talked about, do you see a mask mandate in the near future based off of where we are as a state or even our county local piece with our data as two of the quick things. And then I think there might be some other things we get to with other data, but if you would just get into a little bit about where we are with our plan and where you see us.
and having to isolate at home and therefore be removed from in-person learning. Nobody wants to see that happen. Regarding the question of a mask mandate, it's sort of a four-letter word, if you will. I get that. I don't anticipate that happening in the foreseeable future. Now, let me, of course, give the caveat that the future is hard to foresee. I certainly don't see it happening within the next several weeks. And honestly, if the mitigation layers that Superintendent Wise and his team have laid out work effectively, and if vaccination continues to go up, and it will need to go up, Douglas County's in a great place, but it's not perfect. And we need to be doing everything we can. I'm talking to myself, of course, but I'm really also talking to all of you to encourage our family, our friends, our neighbors, etc., to get vaccinated, because it really will protect all of us. And if we can keep those voluntary, recommended, but not required mitigation strategies at a high level, and I do mean masking, then I think the chances of having to have any sort of mandate are really quite low. So, I'm often told by some of the elected officials in Douglas County that we really do believe personal responsibility is a value the citizens hold. Hard to generalize about 350,000 people, but I think that's true. And I do think these are places, getting vaccinated, having a staff and kids wearing masks in school, even if they've been vaccinated, and adhering to the other protocols, as obnoxious as you may find them, I think will be the kind of personal responsibility that makes this the successful school year that we'd all like to see.
So, Dr. Douglas, I think I think the entirety of what you said, reality, we're in a great spot. Reality, we have recommendations, but it is fluid. If numbers spike, if things go, you have to be prepared that we might have to, and we might need to adjust. But I don't want to jump to what may happen. We have a good plan. Let's start implementing and see where it goes. Anytime that starts, we have an ending point. But the paths in which it takes, we don't always control every variable. So I go back to, what can we control? One, we can control our own behaviors, our own actions, our own attitudes. And I say that to you not to lecture anything else, but it's with all of us. Okay, it's with all of us. And as we start to go forward, how we partner together. We're going to have to work together on this. There's going to be things that we don't even anticipate where we are thinking might happen, and we're going to have to problem solve on that. But that's part of moving it forward and building it together. But I think what I hope that you hear tonight is in our plan to return, we've created and started a solid plan. That plan is still in a good spot as we continue to move forward. It is still fluid because there's going to be changes in data and where does it fall. But I don't want to jump to the extreme of it or the non-extreme of it. Let's see what it shares and where we get to. And that's what we have to do as a whole. And when we look at it, there's variables of there are feelings that we should require masks for all or require masks for under 12. You see other districts on that side. There are lots of opinions and variables. What I can say is we want to make the best plan and work with each individual. We will work hard to commit to that, to work with our schools, to say what are your needs, what can we do to support, what can we do to accommodate. We might not be able to do everything, but we're going to work hard to find those solutions together. And that's that partnership with each of us to find those solutions together for each individual. Okay, so you see that consistency as a whole, even though sometimes answers, solutions are individual based. But we also have multiple avenues and modalities to help support on top of multiple supports within each school. Okay, so as we start going forward, I want to go on to the next slide. So Mark, if we can get into, there's a few other things, and with time-wise, it's already 6:40. So There's questions that came back to us at the start of the school year where with transportation. There's one question on that side. This isn't just COVID in reality. We have and we're working on how do we get back to restoring each of our routes. Routes don't always necessarily mean the exact bus stops, but we have decreased from the 2 to 3 mile to the 1 to 2. Our bus drivers are doing more and picking up more. We have hired, but I also want you to know that each of those routes, some might be a bit longer, but we've tried to decrease that amount. We still need to hire more. We have CDL. CDL is a training, and we have to compete with not only neighboring districts, but also private. So sometimes it's hard to find drivers in our district and every district across the state, across the nation. But if you can recruit or you're willing to do that, I'm going to be blunt. I said to the drivers today, I would be intimidating with CDL course to drive the large buses. Your skill and ability to do that, I'm impressed. Maybe with the training and driving hours, I would feel better, but that's a tough job. But we need more. So if you're willing or you can recruit others, please, we need that. I hear you, transportation is important. Routes are important. So we need your help in getting those. It's been a case for a number of years, and we need to find our ways, solutions to provide that. We also have non-CDL drivers. That's a smaller bus. I would feel much more comfortable jumping in and driving that. You do not have to have a CDL license for that. So anybody that wants to jump in, those that were willing to substitute last year, would you be willing to drive a smaller type of bus and have shuttle systems? Or we're thinking outside of the box. How do we solve solutions to transport more, even at a closer level? So we created with our transportation department a new type of driver. So non-CDL is a new opportunity. We have new employees for non-CDL drivers. We need more. The requirements and training is not as in depth. And I'd say that, the size of the vehicle, even as we have other Suburbans and others, we need to create more shuttle systems so we can provide more access. So I'd love to see to do that. But in that side, boy, we have incentives. We want to recruit. We're competing with neighboring districts, but we need that. We also need TEAs, so transportation educational assistants, and EAs, educational assistants in our schools. We have a shortage. We need your help. Okay? And the last thing I'm going to say is building engineers. So the custodial support and maintaining our buildings. We have a shortage right now, so we need your help. So it's not just transportation. I know that's a question, but I'm going to appeal when I can to say help, reach out if you know somebody. We have great part-time, full-time jobs, and these are needs. Okay? So as we've started to improve our routes and our distance, but we still need to get better, and we need to hire more and retain more, and we need our help with that. Okay? As we go on to the next slide, that's probably a lot of what I talked about, Mike. I probably should have told you to switch. The smart tags, how we work on that together, how we have those. We're also looking at how we can build more field trips and opportunities, extracurricular, co-curricular. We do have sports and activities and a number of events that we want to do that. But that again goes back to we have to have the amount of drivers to provide that access. So that's where I go back to the why. Why do we need drivers? It's not just getting to and from school. It's also providing those other opportunities both during school and after school. Okay, so that's a reality bit of the why. As you get going forward, it also tells you about how to find your routes. Donna Grattino is here. She can be available. We're going to be pressed on time, everybody. So even for the building piece, I'm going to work through this quickly. But we have that form afterwards where you can send questions or ask questions. Reach out also to Donna and her team. She can answer these questions on routes. They're available. Sometimes they're hard to understand. So if you need to call to ask, where is the pickup? What does this look like? Call and ask. We're here to serve you. Okay? So the resources, next one. As we start looking at it, we have a tiered start this year. We have for many years, but it's a little more intentional. Maybe it tweaked in a tad places, but trying to be more consistent. But as you look at those transition years, Monday is the first day of school, but it might not be the first day of school for all students. That's purposeful. You look at our big rocks, all students and all of us have gone through trauma to some level. We need to support. So bringing in transitional grades and trying to have that soft start, bringing in kindergartners to get to know better, start to see the school for the first time, along with you see transitional grades in middle school and high school, that as you look at that. So each of your schools have reached out on their schedule, what that plan looks like, but really calling out the why, the intentionality behind it. The intentionality for healthiness, for feeling a sense of belonging, connecting to teachers, classmates, and systems. So in each of those, I want you to know the clear purpose. Okay, next please. That goes into our frameworks. As we go through this year, it's not an add-on or something different, but we want to be much more intentional. As we're going through each day, where are we? What do you need? Sometimes it's just organizational skills, sometimes it's how to handle anxiety or cope, transition. But I think in each of those, wanted to support you, let us know where your kids are, what can we do to help, what can we do to be ready, prepared, and successful. So we'll get more details on that, but I want you to know in each of these, we have not only provided the structure, started to increase the framework, working on assessments to help schools to get information and data, and then to continue to have intentional check-ins and daily within our routine to help each of those situations where it might just be, how's the class going? What do we need to know? How do we know each other? But that's part of that building relationships and culture and connection. Okay? As we get going through, we have a ton of additional resources. Okay, when you look at it, we offer another number of other supports in that transition. We have the continued free breakfasts. So we look at our meal plans and so forth, which has been a great success, and we go from there. Okay, next slide. You know, as I talked about, as we come in with all of our teachers, how are we doing this? We're working hard with our principals as they come back. They're working with our teachers, and how do we implement in the classroom? So we're going to, not only with the connection of students and addressing where we are, but also how we start to build in what are our goals for the year, how do we improve that, and what's our direction. So our teachers trying to build that culture in their school, not just with COVID, but culture in their school. What's it like to be at Flagstone? What's it like to be at Crest Hill? What's it like to be at Rock Canyon? What's it mean to be a JAG? It's a great day to be a JAG, right, Mr. Abner? Every day is a great day to be a JAG. So as you look at those things, that intentional piece of using our data and trying to support students of where they are. I'm not going to assume that I know where each student is and that each student's in the same spot. Okay? And that's a partnership with you. We're also continuing to look at how we support our learning, our academic learning. Big rock is literacy. Reading is fundamental. Literacy and reading is the number one indicator of student success, not only at that grade level, but throughout. We're doing a lot of great things. You look at our results of our schools, where our students are, and where they go after high school. But we're going to also have a function of a keystone and reading. That's for each and every, and we're going to be better at it. We're going to provide the support for teachers, continued support, and how we help all students across grade levels and a PK-12. So that alignment, that work, resources, and support. We're going to also look at how we extend and how we continue to build back. You know, one of the whys, I'll say this, we'll say it in a future meeting when we look at data, but when you look at the reading data that we showed with iReady, and the wonders of what that data means, the fact that we stayed even after a COVID year, we're an anomaly. What we achieved, other districts were not able to. I probably didn't share that well in that meeting. As we get going forward with more data and a better time, we'll get into that in depth. But I'm going to say in those ironies of what we are quick to judge and then quick to learn, assume positive, work with this. The data on those points are extraordinary. But we always are working to be better, that continuous growth as in each of our plans. Next slide, please. Our community engagement, so we talked about it. Tonight was to share more information. And to be clear, the sharing more information is to create a better understanding. We put out letters, we put out communications, superintendent soups on. But that doesn't get to everybody. So we wanted to do a personal invite so we can share more. This isn't, and especially on a charged topic, isn't probably the best time to have straight up questions and answers. And again, as we start to model that, if we can't handle that well, it might not be, but we need to create engagement so we understand better, even by sharing information to create understanding. Then we'll create other opportunities to share feedback. But I need your help at how we get better at this. In our engagement plans, we will create those forums, those roundtables. We'll have topics that go out to it. So when we go to the next slide, we'll have, back one more, sorry. You know, our student accountability committees are a great way to get involved with our board committees as we've talked about. We will have community forums. They'll be themed and topicked and planned out over the year. We will have not only our engagement towards educational equity as we move forward, but we'll also have our opportunities for engagement around special education. We'll also have our engagement opportunity around compensation. And we'll have other topics that come out as need as the year goes on. But I want you to know as we have those topics, we're going to create structures and ways to facilitate better roundtables. But that's honestly where I'm going to, as we set up those norms of how is going to be important. Okay? And I'm also going to say there's times where we want to include everybody, but we're going to need to also say, how do we do this well? What's that group look like in size, and how do we do this well? And then also, who are those valuable voices that can speak for you, even if you aren't the one there? And then come back and share more. So in those forums, we want you to know that we have those planned out. We'll start to launch those to say when they'll be coming and how to step out those plans and those opportunities for engagement. As you continue to look at, we also have parent universities that we've had for a number of years in involvement. We want you to know about those. There are opportunities for you to jump in, learn, grow, share. Our parent resource pages are there throughout, and as I think we look at it, we have a number of other avenues in which you can be involved, but these are purposeful. How do we really engage and set stages for the future this year? Next slide. Opportunities. So looking forward, you will be receiving a link to be able to give more questions, feedback tonight. So we asked, how do we ask those questions? In this setting, quick turnaround, you know where we are moving forward. Please feel free to give more and ask more. We want to engage with you and do our best I can to continue to answer that. Just like in any time, we'll look at what are those themes, what are those frequently asked or big topics, so we can make sure we get to those first, because you have to prioritize at times. And then also explain, here's where we are and why. Okay, so and in that process, that's part of a question and answer, and also one of the things that I'm going to work to do with you is to always explain where we are and why. Next slide. This is where we get to at that point. The opportunity to ask more questions. As I said, the systemic piece is you will be getting an electronic form, please individual forum, but also in district communication in multiple avenues. Okay? With 10 minutes, I want you to know, here's what I'm going to suggest. Okay? We do need to be able to leave the theater and leave the school. Cleaning crews do have to come in to get ready for staff, to get ready then for students. Even prior to school years, we have students coming in and starting their work and stuff. So, reality to the school, and I appreciate Rock Canyon for opening up the door to be able to do this and engage. I'm going to walk out. We can be available as we go. But I'm also going to say at a certain time, that access, we can call or email, work with me, and we can always be available longer. Okay? But with an open question and answer, what I'm going to do is shut down the mic. Let's walk out as we look to leave. If you want to find me or others to ask, we're available to you. Okay? So as we go, I will walk out with you, and we can be available, as will others, to answer those questions. Okay? So